get blasted tonight. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started here tonight. Big night here tonight at TBREIA. Please, if you guys could take your seats, and you guys are good to go over there. Rock and roll. You want to go ahead and close that up, Griffey? All right, guys, we have a hell of a show for you tonight. My name is Greg Simpson. I'm the president of TBREIA. Thank you guys for coming out and weathering the storm tonight again. That was pretty crazy on the way in here. So again, thanks for coming and weathering this nonsense out there tonight. I want to give you a little bit of story about what TBREIA is, what we do, how we do it, and why you should join if you aren't already a member. So I started this business about 8 years ago, and I'm a successful fix and flipper, buy and hold. We run a successful real estate brokerage. We just signed up agent number 63 today. So we are growing very rapidly. We are my company there is Outfast Realty and Investments, and we are looking for investor-friendly realtors to always join our team. So if you have your license, come talk to me after the meeting. I'm looking at one guy in particular. Oh, man. So we are the largest REIA in two different ways. We have the most meetings. We also have the biggest membership on the west coast of Florida. Right now, we're hovering right around 280 members. Actively, we were a lot higher, obviously, pre-COVID, but we started back from COVID at about 120. So in just a very short period of time, we went from 120 to almost 280. So thank you guys for believing in what we're doing here. And so people ask me all the time, why do you own and why did you start a REIA? You know, and the reason for that is very simple. And I'm going to tell you the story, and I probably will get choked up because I always do. I'm already doing it. And so 8 years ago, I was previously a swimming pool service and repair company. I owned priceless pools over in Pinellas County. And, you know, if you can imagine, that business is not great for making a lot of money. Even though there are lots of pools here in Florida. I started my business essentially right after or right before a recession hit in 2005, and then weathered the storm through it. But in about 8 years or 10 years ago now, I met my now wife. And after obviously a little while of courtship, we realized pretty quick that we're going to get married. We'll start a family at some point. And I started doing some reflection. Is the pool business going to be able to provide for me and a family eventually? And the answer was a resounding hell no. And the reason I know that is because when you guys, how many of you here are an entrepreneur that is not a real estate investor or has been in the past? You can raise your hand. Entrepreneurs, okay? You guys know how hard it is to run an actual business. You've got rent, you've got payroll, you've got liability insurance and all the other equipment and all the stuff that you have. Well, as a broke guy doing pools, there were many nights where I would be up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, not able to sleep because I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to make payroll on Friday. If you guys have owned a business, you have all been there at some time, knowing or stressing out, how am I going to pay my guys this week when I don't have enough money to pay rent? But your obligation is to them first. You get to take the peanuts that are left over. And so because I hadn't slept many times, what's on TV late at night at 2 and 3 in the morning? Infomercials, right? The get rich quick schemes are all on there. The Carlton Sheets started it back in the 80s and the 90s with the no money down. And that just kind of snowballed into a whole bunch of different stuff. And when the market started rebounding, obviously in 2010 and 11 and 12, and 2012 was when I got started essentially in the business. I was up 3 o'clock in the morning and seeing a guy that I recognized on a Flip This House show having a free real estate seminar this Friday or this Monday or whatever it was coming up. So me being desperate to find a way to do something to generate some sort of income or something different for myself and my family, decided that I am going to go to this. So I walk in my office. My dad, who was doing some administrative stuff for me at the time, I said, Dad, there's a free real estate seminar today, 12 o'clock. It's at the hotel right down the street. It's funny, we actually host one of our meetings now at that very same hotel. So it's kind of funny how things come full circle. So we go into this thing. It's a 1 or 2 hour presentation, pitching us on a 3-day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday boot camp. Awesome. Okay, great. Cost is a nominal fee of $1,500. Okay. Mind you, I can't pay payroll on Friday. It's Monday. How the hell am I going to pay $1,500 for this boot camp? Okay. So my dad goes, if you want to put the work in, I'll front the $1,500 and we'll go. Awesome. Great. So we go. We get a lot of really good information, honestly. And with that is always something else that comes along with it. And I know several of you have done this in the room, and it's okay. I did it too. So the whole weekend they're prepping you. You need to call your credit card company, raise your credit card limits, because you're going to go get educated on how to do this for a select few people that qualify for the bus tour in California. Okay, awesome. How much does that cost, Mr. Salesman? $25,000. Here, I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm not paying 25 grand. I don't have money to pay payroll. So my dad, because he wanted to really do this himself, he always had a passion for real estate. He had his real estate license at the time. He goes, well, so he calls the credit card company. They raise his limits. He's like, let's do it. I'm all in. We negotiated because we don't pay retail for shit. You guys all are wholesalers in the room know this, right? We negotiated from 25 to 18. So we threw $18,000 on a credit card. Great. So now, it's not just $18,000 though. It's $18,000 plus plane tickets to California, hotel, and you stay in the hotel in the, or you stay in the hotel that the event is being held at because you don't want to miss the networking opportunities, right? Well, that hotel happens to be $400 a night. So you got that, you got food, you got drinks, all that good stuff that comes along with going to a seminar for 3 days. Well, you get there, you learn a lot of other stuff that's honestly not as good as the 3-day. The first 3-day. A lot of the other stuff is the raw bullshit. So if you guys haven't been to this, I'm glad I'm getting to you now so that you don't do this in the future. Well, there's also a select few people that are going to qualify for the Master Mentor Program. This is a high-level, elite group of people who are going to teach you the real way to do this, not this stuff we've been teaching you for 3 days. What? We just paid you $18,000, $25,000 for some people. You mean to tell me I need more education to do this? Oh yeah, it's $25,000. And I fought tooth and nail for this. My dad and I got in a huge argument in the lobby of the hotel and said, I think this is ridiculous. I said, what they were teaching us that whole weekend did not make sense, that they were going to give away these foreclosure properties in 2012, mind you. The market had recovered quite a bit at that point. They weren't giving away houses, pennies on the dollars like they were in 2009, in 2010. The banks started getting a little smarter, even though they're still pretty stupid, even to this day. So I vehemently was against spending the extra $25,000 for the Master Mentor Program. It was really going to teach you everything you need to know about flipping houses. Mind you, there's a whole nother program for the buy and hold thing over here for another $25,000. Oh, you want asset protection to learn how to set up your LLCs and corporations in your Delaware company or whatever nonsense? That's another $10,000. So my dad decided he wanted to do the Master Mentor Program. So I said, fine. We fly back to Tampa. We then have to fly back to California for the Master Mentor Program, who the Master Mentor, who also lives in California, is going to teach me how to do deals in Florida. Okay, sure. Okay. So basically, in that whole thing, we got a spreadsheet. That was about the only good thing we got for $25,000 extra dollars. A spreadsheet. Legit. So, with all that being said, we came back, we did a couple of deals, but by the time those credit card payments started coming due, that was not enough. There was not enough to be able to do it because we didn't come from money. This business is very difficult if you do not come from money. Yes, you can absolutely do this business with no money. I do that to this day. but it is a very difficult thing to do when you have zero experience and have no one really teaching you how to do it here locally. So my dad ended up having to file for bankruptcy. Legit had to file for bankruptcy, had to go through all that stuff, had to wipe off that credit card debt and everything like that, and it was just a disaster. And so that's why I own a REIA, to make sure that you guys can learn from people like myself, the sponsors who are here to help you along the way, the members who are in this room today, the members that are not here tonight, our subgroup hosts, like the ones that are also standing up here tonight. You guys can learn from us and from them, and from guys like Rod Cleef here that are here tonight that are going to teach you some really cool shit along the way. I am vehemently against having to spend $10,000 to learn how to buy houses. Especially, I'm super vehemently against having to spend $50,000 or more to learn how to buy shitbox houses for $50,000. Go spend that $50,000 putting a down payment with a private money lender and go make a lot of mistakes. You're better off throwing that $50,000 away in a property that you can turn into a rental that you will own for forever than you are to throwing into your education from some guru who doesn't give a shit about you. That's totally the opposite of what we do here. You guys know how much my most expensive courses on wholesaling is for you guys? That literally teaches you A to Z how to wholesale a house is $1,000. And I have had people that have taken my course have told me they learned more in my one day, because it's basically a one-day course that is broken up over several modules. They learned more in my one day when I used to do it live than they did their entire $100,000 they spent with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So don't give me this bullshit that you need to spend that kind of money. Learn from the people like myself and Jerry and Rod and everyone else in the room that's actually doing deals, that's willing to help you. The thing that saved my ass in the whole thing, guys, was through that mentor program, or the master mentor program. I actually did get to meet a mentor that was able to walk me through the deal, but it wasn't part of his associate. It wasn't his mentor. It was a guy who I met and walked me through multiple deals. I did 4 to 5 deals as his grunt boy, do boy, little bitch, whatever you want to call it. I did whatever he asked me to fucking do at a drop of a hat. You need me to go take pictures of the house? I'll go take pictures. You need me to go meet the contractor there? I'll go meet the contractor. You need me to fire the contractor? I've fired contractors for him. I did whatever Luke Weber needed me to do to learn this business. I encourage you to do the same. I have a guy named Nick who reached out to me after one of these meetings a couple months ago. It's like, I want to just come work for you and do whatever you need me to do. I called him and texted him at like 2 in the afternoon one day and said, hey, Nick, I need you to go water the yard at 803 East Flora Street. What do you think he did? He went to water the fucking grass. I suggest you go do the same thing for guys like me, girls like in here that are doing this kind of stuff. I'm sorry if I cuss and I offend you, but I really don't care. I'm just passionate about what we do here. And it's the same thing we do at Outfast Realty. I teach my agents how to do this business without having to spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on it. Shoot, Raphael, wish he was here tonight to tell you how much money he's making on his last 2 flips with my guidance. It's over $100,000, y'all, in 2 flips. Matt Krieger just made $45,000. This is not to be public knowledge. Made a $45,000 on a wholesale fee by working with us. And he sold it to one of my other agents, who's also going to make about $50,000 when she flips the house. Guys, this isn't rocket science, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to teach you guys how to do this business without having the big old price tag. It is literally my mission to make sure that happens for each and every one of you. So don't be shy. Don't think that Greg is too busy. That's why, you ever get that, Rod? That people don't reach out to you because you're too busy for them? I'm sorry, Rod. Guys, there's a lot of people here that are not too busy to help you, is my point. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce you to some really cool people here tonight that are either our subgroup hosts or our sponsors. Our subgroup hosts are people that help you with the little mini groups all over town. I'll explain to you the ones that are the subgroups are not here tonight and how they can help you and where they're located. And I'm going to introduce you to our sponsors, who are literally handpicked individuals that can help you along the way in some shape or form, whether it's mortgage, title, private money lending, you name it, lists. They're going to tell you all how they can help you. And there's more sponsors online as well for you to go through. So I'm going to lead off with our subgroup posts. So Miguel and Devin, if you want to come up here first. Thank you, guys.
I'm not going to use this. You want that? Oh, all right. Yeah, for the people online. I'm Miguel Feliciano. I'm the veteran investor and your veteran agent. I'm also a 20-year software engineer. I do that as my full-time job. I enjoy it, and I do real estate on the side. This is my fabulous and jacked up co-host, Devin. You'll do your thing. So we host the North Tampa meeting. We did not have the North Tampa meeting this month because of a location issue, but we do have a new location coming up for July 7th, and that will be the IHOP in Carrollwood. I believe the address is 11111 Northdale Mabry Highway.
We'll let you know.
Did you use this?
I kind of used it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so our meeting is it's July 7th. July 7th. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Just show up. Just put it in your calendar. Cancel your other plans. It's the best one. My name is Devin. I do this. I've done a little bit of a lot in real estate. I was a full-time agent. I did a bunch of wholesaling. And now I do lead generation as one business. I actually do find deals through online leads for a home buying company here in Tampa. And I'm also a co-owner in a real estate funding business. Probably the biggest way that I could help, if you need help with anything, is questions about marketing, I would guess. But yeah, definitely want to see some of you guys at our meeting in July.
Yours is coming, Amber. Well, I'm a host. I get to go in front of the sponsors. What's up, everyone? My name's Jeremy Cloder. I'm business partners with Greg on the million things that we do. So broker of the brokerage and the property management company. I host the South Tampa meeting, which is at our office, now our new office, which is upstairs from the old one. Every second Tuesday, 7 to 9. I don't know what topic we're going to cover. I think we're going to have the short-term rental guys that are my co-hosts talk about current short-term rental market. So if you guys are doing Airbnbs on your rentals, whatever, or want to explore that, we'll probably talk about that next month. If you guys need any help, just, I don't know, analyzing deals, property management side, you know, we manage anything from single family up to apartment complexes, Hillsborough, Pinellas, and a little bit of Pasco. We can help with that. Like Greg said, if you have your license, happy to chat about that as well. Just find me after the meeting. I'll give you my cell, my email, whatever. Just here to help you guys. You know, I was one of the guys that paid too much money to a guru before I landed here 5 years ago and have built what we've built now. So just happy to help in any way we can. Find me after. Come check out the meeting, and hope you guys enjoy the evening. Thanks.
All right, so there are a couple of subgroup posts that are not here tonight. We have, like I said, we relaunched our Clearwater meeting is actually in Carillon at the Hilton right there. Technically, it's one of that weird thing where like St. Pete intersects with Clearwater, so it's technically the Clearwater meeting. We have Derby and Jared. They specialize in land wholesaling. So if you guys have ever wanted to buy land, they literally have a huge following of students across the state of Florida that are buying land for developers and one-off builders as well. So if you guys are looking to do new construction, you definitely need to get hooked up with them and go meet them over at the Clearwater meeting. That meets on the second Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock. We have the St. Petersburg meeting, which meets at the, I believe, last time we met at the Birchwood for a little meet and greet with Herb Dorsey and with Jason Bryant. Herb is a serial entrepreneur. He's got lots of businesses. He primarily is a fix and flipper and has a construction company as well, doing tiny homes and whole bunch of other stuff that he does as well, but he is a wealth of knowledge, and Jason is his business partner and basically helps him with his business development side. So Jason's really good with it, teaching you guys the business mindset of running a business and how to systemize and that kind of stuff. So they're a really good duo over there. I think we're going to try and meet back at the St. Pete Hyatt like we were before. I think we're just kind of playing the limbo game with trying to get everything launched because of COVID's being COVID. And then we also have the Brandon meeting. We are actually looking for a co-host. So if you guys live in the Brandon Riverview area, we are looking to relaunch that meeting as soon as possible. I'm just looking for a host to help me with that relaunch there. And then we do have a breakfast meeting as well that I host at, it is an undisclosed location because it is for members only. It is not something that a guest can come to unless I personally invite you to it and tell you where it's at, but it's a trade secret, but it's in my hood, if you know where that is. And then, so that meets it. What's that? Yeah. Not far. So like I said, you have lots of opportunities to go network and meet with like-minded people, all like us in the room here tonight. And with that being said, I'm going to turn over to our sponsors who literally we use every single day in our business to make sure that Outfast Realty, Outfast Investments, the property management company is all running like a well-oiled machine. So without further ado, my sponsors, starting off with Leo.
Hello, welcome. That's so weird to speak to you without a mask on. Anyway, Leo with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. Protect what matters most, your family. So we are an inspection and engineering company. That's why we're Beryl Engineering and Inspection. As an engineer, I'm pretty boring when it comes to jokes. So we just, thank you. So we help the new investors out. We can inspect properties. We help the more seasoned investors out. We can inspect properties. The difference is a new inspector will give you a general home inspection, tell you about what you're getting. For the more seasoned ones, we usually come in on properties that are pretty trashy, and we give you a nice report so you can beat sellers up in price. For even more seasoned investors, we can do permit plans for you. We can help you with permit letters in case you get caught by the building department during a fix and flip you forgot to file for a permit. So we can assist all around with engineering and inspection needs. Our number is 813. Yeah, I got these business cards. I'll just hand them out. So good to be in person. So I'll hand these out. Leo with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. Protect what matters most, your family.
I don't know what he's talking about, not pulling permits and getting caught. I feel like he talks to me every time. So, Ralph.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Everybody well? Yeah, all right, great, awesome. How you doing, everyone? My name is Ralph Saller. I am the Business Relationship Manager at Old Tampa Bay Title. Before I get started, there are quite a few folks that we've had the opportunity and privilege of working with, so I just want to reach out and just say thank you so much. We greatly appreciate your support in business. Old Tampa Bay Title, we are a real estate attorney-owned and operated title company, so we have not one, not two, but we actually have 3 in-house real estate attorneys. As you know, between wholesaling, fixing, and flipping, no 2 transactions are ever the same, so having that legal resource there could be crucial to getting your deals closed. We close all over the state of Florida and love to have the opportunity to work with you. So first and foremost, go Bolts tonight, right? Go Bolts, right? Number 2, where's all the fathers at in this room? Huh? Anybody father? Happy Father's Day, everyone. All right. And then number 3, you know what I do, right? All right. Who wants to pop and rock with us? Huh? Anybody want to pop and rock? Somebody wants to pop and rock with us? He wants to pop and rock. You want to look at you, man. He's so look at you. Heck, get you something, bud. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Always solid. Yeah. Hey guys, my name's Rob DeJory. I'm the branch manager of Guild Mortgage here in Tampa. I've been doing mortgage lending for the past 15 years here in the area. I'm also an investor myself. I have a few buy and holds that I rent out. And through this group, I've met some great contacts. I've met guys that host my Airbnb property for me. They do a great job through Tealdor. Jeremy helps me on a lot of my lease stuff. Greg helps me with contractors, sort of, yeah. And it's just a wealth of knowledge in this room. If you're looking to start investing, you got to come to every meeting, not just one. On the mortgage side, if you're looking to buy your own primary residence, I can help with that. It's gotten a little hard with investment properties through Fannie Mae. They've kind of restricted that lately. I think they're trying to free up some inventory for, retail buyers. So if you have any questions about mortgage lending, oh, one other thing. If you want help structuring your tax returns, say you just started in the business and you're self-employed, well, that's a huge, it's a challenge for some buyers. So I can help you to set up that the right way so that lenders approve you when you go to apply for a mortgage. Thanks.
All right, I got the background group. So my name's Amber. I'm with Tiago National Title. So I think the only difference between myself and our awesome, amazing Ralph is that we're national. So if you guys, obviously we cover all of Florida. I actually physically do the closings as well. So I've actually had my hands involved in everything that you guys are going to deal with. My dad's a GC. So I've been born and raised in the entire construction industry my entire life. So I've got a lot of pull with a lot of cities and counties because thanks to my dad. So if you want my information, just reach out to me. You can come see me probably at the bar after this. I've got business cards, but Tiago National Title, we've got about 12 offices in Florida. So just saying. Thank you.
Thanks, Amber.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt Kelsey with Deployed Capital Group. We are a local real estate fund. We're a private lender, and we're also a buyer where we do our own deals. So real unique operation. If you guys want to apply for a loan, just go on deployedcapitalgroup.com. Takes 2 minutes. Super easy. Have a good night, everybody.
Short and sweet.
Hey guys, I'm Tangi Cousins. I'm the nationwide lead provider. I provide leads to the investors, realtors, attorneys, and just your basic first-time home buyer. We have about 25 different types of leads we can offer you. We do things like probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce. All of our leads are weekly and fresh. Our foreclosures are also daily. Other companies tend to be quarterly and they're not farming for real estate. Just to boil it down so that you understand how important that is, 300 people may file, let's say, probate or divorce in 1 week, and maybe only 15 will have property. Other companies are going to give you all 300. I'm only going to give you the 15. So you don't want to waste 285 mailing pieces, 285 skip tracing, cold calling, and all that time and money wasted. So you do get a discount for being part of TBREIA. You get 20 to 30% off. And I'm also doing a drawing. You can put your name in the bowl back there or put your business card back there. Probates and pre-probates, though, by far are honestly some of the best leads you'll ever get. They have a lot of equity. They typically don't mind taking a discount, and they're extremely motivated to sell. So you can usually get these properties for deeply discounted wholesale rates. We also have evictions and foreclosures, and with the moratorium being lifted, you definitely want to get in on that bandwagon now while it gets too hot. So raise your hand if y'all want a flyer. Tangi Cousins.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Sulisufai, and I am a public insurance adjuster with Hunter Claims. Basically, what I do is I help property owners with their insurance claims. I make sure that their insurance claims get paid and they get the top dollar for their claim. Today, I wanted to talk about assignment of benefits. Recently, I had a friend of mine. He was looking to purchase a house that he had under contract. The roof was older. Home inspection came back. You did have damage to the roof. Instead of asking the seller for concessions, what we did was we had the seller execute an assignment of benefits, and he was able to purchase the house and file an insurance claim under the seller's policy, and he's getting the house at the price negotiated down, and the insurance company is going to pay for his roof, even though it wasn't even his policy. So if you want to learn how to buy a property and how to get the money from the guy who's selling you his insurance company, you let me know. Jason Sulisufai, Hunter Claims.
Got hit with 16,000.
Hey guys, my name's Javier and I'm addicted to real estate. Yeah, I didn't think that was gonna be that funny. Yo, do you have a cell phone? If you do, can you hold it up in the air for me? It's just literally one thing I'm gonna ask tonight. Everybody, finding a little participation on the left. Thank you. Go to clearskip.com, CLEAR skip.com. I'm the owner, and we don't have any discounts for actually being a part of this, but we have a code for this month, and it's June 21. It's skip trace at 15 cents. We do LLCs, we do next of kin. So if you go to your tax records, download it, want to reach every single person in the neighborhood, we'll do that for you. Send it to us as it is, and it's simple as that. I'm a local investor. I use my stuff. It has to be accurate. So, yeah, let me know too. And I'm always buying and selling. So if you're a deal maker, we should talk. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Appreciate it.
That's a big deal, y'all.
Yeah. I love following Javier. So I'm Mary, and I'm stepping in for Rob tonight for TBREIA Capital. If you need money, we are the people. We'll pay 100% of your rehab costs. You have some experience, your rate's going to be 5.99. You have long-term rentals, that rate is 3.99. No pay stubs, no W-2s, no problem. If you have any questions, I have brochures. Gladly give them to you. And please take some hand sanitizer because I really don't want to take that back. All right, and then Rob is your person.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm David. I buy the really structurally messed up houses. The sinkhole settlements, the siding foam, the burned up, blown up houses, the houses that are falling into the ground, falling into the job. I buy the really structurally messed up houses. I also have been doing this for 24 years. I also have stretch balls, so I can stretch out the lower face. Don't squeeze my balls, just give me a call. The phone number is on the stretch ball, so you'll find yourself stressed out. Been doing it for 24 years. See, I'm a liquidator, not a wholesaler. I'm the guy who liquidates your house. I'm the guy who shows up at all the title companies and wires the money. That's our company. Looking for somebody to liquidate your house if you do for his whole portfolio. You got it there. 727-560-6850.
Give one more round of applause for all of our sponsors here tonight. All right, so before I get Rod up here, I have one favor. I need one person to come help me hold a specific sign, and then each and every one of you should have a piece of paper underneath your chair. We're going to do a little photo op here because we want to get a very specific person to come speak at our meeting to finish off the year. We're big fans of Tarek here from Flipper Flop, so we're going to try and do a little social media promotion. I want everyone to hold up their sign. We're going to hold up this really big sign here as well. I need someone to hold it up right about here, and Brent, I want you to come take a picture of this. Go right here, Jennifer, right behind the camera. This guy's very hard to get a hold of. I have Rod's phone number. I can call him anytime I want. All right, so on the count of 3, you guys can make funny faces. I don't care what you do, but just have some fun with this. 1, 2, 3, let's go. All right, good enough for me. Thanks, guys. Oh, Jennifer wants to take it. Oops, sorry.
I want everybody to say, we love Tarek. But give me a second. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We love Tarek. Thank you. Gotta get creative sometimes these days, guys. All right, without further ado, I want to bring up Rod here tonight, guys. This is going to be one hell of a presentation for you guys. This is being recorded, so if you guys forget to take notes, it will be sent out to you guys later. But yeah, Rod is someone we've known for a while. He spoke a couple years here and did a phenomenal job. Love having him back here tonight. He's going to talk to you guys about a lot of really cool stuff and some multifamily basics as well. Love this guy. He was on our podcast as well a couple years ago. Without further ado, Rod Cleef, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Is my mic working? Can you guys hear me all right? Yeah? All right. Okay. I want a damn sign before I come up here again. I'll tell you that right now. Yep. Stop it. Stop it. All right. So let me just give you a little background on me, just because it lends itself to what I want to talk about tonight. So I immigrated to this country when I was 6 years old. I was born in the Netherlands, in Holland. And, you know, windmills, wooden shoes, and ended up in Denver, Colorado, where I lived for 30 years. And we really struggled. I remember eating expired food, and we had powdered milk with our cereal in the morning. And I wore clothes from the Goodwill and the Salvation Army until I lied about my age when I was 14 at Burger King because I was tall and got a job so I could buy clothes. And some of you may have had it harder than we did. But I knew I wanted more. And luckily, my mom had a great work ethic, so she babysat kids so we'd have enough money to eat. And with her babysitting money, She was an entrepreneur. She invested in the stock market and made money. And she actually bought the house across the street from us when I was about 14 for $30,000. And then when I was 17, she told me she made $20,000 in her sleep. And I'm like, what? Screw college. I'm going to get into real estate. So I got my real estate broker's license right when I turned 18, within days of turning 18, which you could do back then with education. Now they got smart and you need some experience. But I was a broker and I was going to be rich selling houses. Well, my first year in real estate, I made about $8 grand. My second year, maybe 10 grand. But my third year, I made over $100,000, which back in 1981 was pretty decent change. So what happened between year 2 and year 3? What happened was I met a guy, I actually worked for a guy, dated his daughter, that taught me about the importance of mindset and psychology and how 80 to 90% of your success in anything is just that, your mindset and your psychology. And so fast forward to today, I've owned a couple thousand houses that I've rented long term. I've owned thousands of apartment units. In fact, we just went under contract today on a 269 unit in San Antonio that I'm flying out to Tuesday. In 2006, my net worth went up $17 million while I slept. You're thinking, wow. Well, and I thought, wow. In fact, I thought I was a freaking real estate god. Yeah, you do the math on it, it's $8,300 an hour over a 40-hour work week, which of course I did. And anybody that held still long enough heard about it. And you know, when you get a big head, sometimes God or the universe will give you a nice little smack on the ass. Well, that was 2008. I lost that 17 million and a lot more. I lost $50 million in 2008. I had 800 houses from Pasco County all the way down to Bonito Springs and everywhere in between. And I had several apartment complexes. And I was only at a 30% loan to value, and I still crashed and burned. That's why the name of my podcast is Lifetime Cash Flow, not Lifetime Value, okay? Because it's all about freaking cash flow. But anyway, so I lost my ass. I lost $50 million. And one of the things, you know, I host a podcast now. I started a podcast to tell people about my journey and my pain and my seminar. I call them seminars. I don't call them failures. I've had plenty of seminars, but that was my biggest. And so I started the podcast, Lifetime Cash Flow. I'm blessed to say it's the largest commercial real estate podcast in the world now. We just broke 11 million downloads. And, you know, I never planned for any of that. You know, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. I used to tell people when I first started, I'll never sell you anything, because I never planned to. I just wanted to tell people about my experience. If you're going to buy and hold, for God's sakes, do multifamily. Don't do single family. And then it turned into, you know, this. Now I've taught thousands of people. My students, really proud of this. I have coaching students, and they just broke 45,000 doors owned, and I've only been teaching 3.5 years, so I'm really freaking proud of that. But anyway, so and I lost my train of thought, which may happen a lot. I didn't get any sleep last night because I flew in really late from a troubled asset we have in Shreveport, 403 units, the bane of my existence. But anyway, so what I want to talk about is some success strategies around how I had 50 million to lose in the first place and how I got back to the success that I'm blessed to have today. So I thought I'd share that with you. You know, some strategy around that and how how I was able to recover. I mean, people killed themselves in 2008, 9, and of course back in the Great Depression for losing less than that proportionately. And, you know, luckily, one of the things that I'll talk about is peer group. I was in a great peer group back then. But, and the importance of that, being around a group like this, being around people that aren't threatened by your existence, aren't threatened by your dreams, aren't going to try to hold you back because of their fear, jealousy, whatever it is. You know, so many people default to a peer group of people they went to school with or people they work with. And, you know, if they're threatened by you, they're going to hold you back. You know, if you show me your 3 friends, I'll tell you who you are or who you're going to be. So the first thing I want to talk about, so I'm going to give you some success strategies. I'll go as long as I can. I literally am pretty wiped. So you're getting my B+ game today. But I want to talk about some success strategies. I'm happy to talk about multifamily till I'm blue in the face. Let me just say this. I'm very active on social. If you guys have a multifamily question, don't hesitate to ping me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it. I mean, I've got a great team that helps me too, so don't hesitate. But the first thing I want to talk about, the reason I was able to recover was I reassociated with what I wanted, more importantly, why I wanted it. And, you know, would have been real easy for me to look in the rearview mirror and bemoan myself. And I did, you know, lost $50 million. That was my story for a little while, you know, and, you know, anybody that holds still long enough got to listen to me whine about it. But then I reassociated with what I wanted. And Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, the biggest thing he talks about in that book, and I've given away thousands of copies. Everybody at my live events, if you've ever been to one, gets a copy of that book. And it's a book you should read several times a year, by the way. But the first thing he talks about is having a burning desire. The only way you're going to push through that fear, push through those limiting beliefs, and actually take freaking action with what you learn in these meetings and learn in real estate is to have a burning desire and want it bad. So if you know, one of the things, like last time I was here, I think I did my goal setting workshop. I'm not going to do that with you tonight, but I did record it on Facebook, on my Facebook official page on January 2nd. I do it every year around the 1st. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. If you want me to help juice you up, if you DM me, I'll send you the link, or you can just go. It'll take probably forever to scroll through and find it, but it's about an hour, 15 minutes. I've got a guide, and I walk you through it because you got to know what the hell you want, right? How the heck are you ever going to get it if you don't know what it is with clarity? Clarity is power. You got to know what it is you want. You got to want it bad, okay? And when you have that burning desire, when you get your butt kicked like I did, you get back up. You know, you're not afraid of failure. Guys, we fail our way to success. I've built 24 businesses. Several have been worth tens of millions of dollars. Most have been spectacular flaming seminars, okay? But we learn. You know, I got to meet the billionaire owner of Spanx, Sarah Blakely, beautiful human being. She's like worth $4 billion now. She started with $5 grand and, you know, the women's undergarment stuff. And she told me that her dad, I met her at a mastermind, and she told me that her dad asked her and her brother once a week, what have you failed at this week? Would that be a great question to ask your kids? Freaking love that. I wish I'd have heard that when my kids actually listened to me. All right. So after you decide exactly what it is you want, you got to make a decision. Okay? You're not going to take action until you make a freaking decision. Now, when I say decision, I don't mean dipping your freaking toe in the water. I mean it's freaking done. Okay? It's done. It's the Latin word for the word decision means to cut off. You're going to attack the freaking island. You burn your ships because you're taking their damn ships back, okay? That's a decision. It's done, okay? Not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Now, when you make a decision and you're 100% committed, you're like a freaking train on a track. And if you're just hoping or just interested, it'll be very easy for you to get knocked off track, okay? So you got to commit. And when you're committed, it's not a dream anymore. It's going to happen. It's real. And so what happens when you 100% commit and you own it and you own 100% responsibility for yourself? It's not your wife's fault, your husband's fault, your dog's fault. You own whatever happens to you. It's very freeing. It's actually counterintuitive when you own all the positive things and the negative things that could happen to you. Very important. So you make a decision. Then you've got to have positive expectation. Okay? You've got to visualize and manifest and expect good things to happen. Because whether you expect to win or lose, whatever you expect, you're going to get, right? It's so easy in today's day and age to focus on pain and struggle. In fact, people connect that way. Phil, I was guilty of it tonight, bitching about being how tired I was. I'm guilty of it. And you know, it's funny if you came up to me and said, "Hey, Rod, how you doing?" I said, "I am fucking fantastic, man. Are you kidding? Things are amazing." You'd be like, "Oop, he's off his freaking meds." But if you came up and said, "How you doing?" I said, "Oh, dude, my back's freaking killing me." You'd be like, "Oh, brother, I feel you," right? That's how we connect, right? Just beware of that, okay? Focus on the positive. Have positive expectation, and great things happen. I'll give you a great example. I'm sorry, not a great example. I'll give you an example. It's not a great example, but it's the only one I can think of that really, in my experience, that was a big shift. So I'm a wide guy, right? And when I go to and I've been to hundreds of boot camps. I have a picture on my Facebook and Instagram of me holding all these lanyards. I've got hundreds of lanyards around my neck and on my arms because I never went to college, but I still wanted to learn. So I did a lot of boot camps and masterminds. Well, I always get there early because I always get there so I can separate the freaking seats and I can sit on the aisle, right? Because I'm wide. Well, I went to a boot camp and I was late. And I was in the freaking middle. And there was one seat next to me. And I see this, and you know what's going to happen. This giant woman knocking over drinks coming down the aisle toward me. I'm like, oh, good God, help me. But then I just decided I'm going to have a great time. And I went like that, and she was a beautiful human being, and it was the most amazing time because I had positive expectation. Okay, now that's again a horrible example, but that's all I got. That's all I got. So the other thing I want to tell you is, especially right now, if you're in this room, you're a leader. Okay, and right now more than ever, the freaking world needs leaders. Okay, and to be a leader, you've got to manage your focus right now. And it's so easy to get sucked into CNN and all the other bullshit on the news. Don't do that. Stand guard at the door to your mind. Bring in the good stuff, okay? Go on YouTube and download, soldiers coming home to their family or other motivational stuff. I do a clip every week on my podcast called Own Your Power. It's 5 minutes. I promise you I'll juice you. Give me 5 minutes a week and I'll juice you. I get a lot of great feedback. In fact, that's the reason that my podcast has done so well. It's because of that motivational content. But be careful what you bring in. Stand guard at the door to your mind and bring in the good stuff, because even if you're just a leader of your family, you need to manage your focus and focus on the things that you want and stay motivated and lead, bottom line. And also, don't forget that you choose the meaning you place on something, okay? You can, like my meaning for losing $50 million is I would have never met my wife, and I'd give it all up again for her. So that's the positive meaning I've put on a pretty fucked up situation, right? So I thought I was set for life. But it's the truth. So remember, life is about meaning. Two people can have the same thing happen to them, and by some perception, horrific thing happen to them, and one person can put a positive meaning on it, and the other person can put a negative meaning on it. And you know how each one of those is going to determine their future, right? So remember, life's about meaning. The other thing I want to tell you is recognize the power of the words I am, okay? There's anything you put the words I am in front of is an identity statement. And I've got tons of these in my wall, in my exercise room, in my offices. I am success. I am courage. I am the world's greatest husband. I'm a business genius. And I have these things because there's no greater force in the human psyche than the need to remain consistent with how we identify ourselves. So if you look in my office, you will see pictures of the things that I want because they freaking work. Okay, trust me. I should have brought my damn planner with me. I've got pictures in the back of this thing that I've had in there for 20 years, and I've gotten every single thing in there except the six-pack abs. Everything else I got. But all the cars, the stupid shit, the Lamborghinis, Rolls, Bentley, all that stupid stuff that I thought was important, the few $100,000 worth of watches, just stupid shit. But not stupid at the time, stupid now when I think about it. But I got it all because I had pictures. And I've got these identity statements on the wall. And I will yell this shit at the top of my lungs when I'm exercising, when I'm running. When I was doing live events, which I'll hopefully start again at the end of the year, my kids help me. My daughter does sound and my son does the cameras. And that's the most common question they get is, does he really do that shit? Yes, he really does that shit. We had to listen to it. Yeah, because it works, guys. It freaking does. When you do affirmations like that, and one of the things we do at my boot camps, they live stream now, is an identity statement. And the more you can associate with who you're aspiring to be and what you want to embody and who you want to become, the faster it comes into existence. And I know some of you are like, I wish you'd just get on with the fucking real estate stuff. Well, I'm here to tell you, this is more important, guys. I'm just going to tell you it is. It's 80 to 90% of this. I'm telling you right now. So the next thing I'll chat about is fear and limiting beliefs. When I immigrated, I was 6 years old. I didn't speak English. I got thrown into school, found out what bullies were for the first time, got my butt kicked on a regular basis because I hadn't been taught how to fight yet. And then my mom, God bless her, proud Dutch woman, would send me to school in wooden shoes for show and tell and those leather shorts that the Germans wear for Oktoberfest. Yeah, I got my ass kicked again. And then they chased me home, and she chased them off with a fly swatter. So you can imagine what the next day was like for that as well. What this caused in me was a belief system that I wasn't good enough. In fact, I used to ask myself, how can I show them I'm good enough? And a lot of people, a lot of you have these limiting belief systems. But I want you to remember that there's a reason that the acronym for belief systems is BS, because 99.9% of them are BS, okay? They're just this emotional thing that happened in our lives that we placed weight on. Other things would be, I'm not smart enough. I'm not analytical enough. That was another one enough. I'm not old enough. I'm not young enough. I mean, there's all these belief systems, and they're BS. So here's what I want to tell you. If you have one of those is out there, don't let it slide by. If you feel it pop up, pull it out in the freaking daylight, look at it with your adult rational mind and recognize that it's BS. And the more often you consciously do that, it will diminish it. I mean, I was an introvert. I wouldn't raise my freaking hand in class, and now I don't give a shit how I look. I talk in front of thousands of people. It's just like I don't care anymore. If you don't like me, that's okay. And frankly, if you reject me, you're either fucked up or you just don't know who I am. And that's my belief system now, okay? That's the bottom line. If you reject me, it's on you. And that's not ego. That's just like, what you think of me is your business. And it took a lot. Believe me, it took a lot for me to get there. But anyway, so again, pull it out in the freaking daylight, look at it consciously, recognize that it's BS, because it is. Just recognize that, and you'll push past it. Okay, then now let's talk about the power of the first step. Dr. Martin Luther King said, take that first step in faith and the next step will be revealed. Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We see it in real estate. It's the law of the first deal. It's the freaking scariest. It takes the longest. It's the most stressful. I see my students all the time. It's like 8 months. They finally get a deal. Next thing you know, they got 6 of them. It's like, what the hell happened? And so just recognize that. Don't think you have to see the whole freaking path, okay? Don't think you have to see everything, especially you analytical ones. You know who you are. You don't have to check off every freaking box. Just take that first step and move forward, and it'll be revealed. You can drive all the way across the United States at night, only seeing 50 feet in front of you. You may encounter some obstacles, but you'll make it because other people have done it before, right? So just remember, it's the same way with your goals, guys. But you got to take that first freaking step. Life is too short to have regret, okay? I'm going to tell you, if you fear failure, fear regret a lot more, because I can't even imagine. I'll tell you a story. There was this nurse in Australia named Bronnie Ware, and she was a hospice nurse. So she's taking people that are, taking care of people that are about to die. And she asked them a question. And that question was, do you have any regrets? And she wrote a book about it. It's called The 5 Regrets of Dying. You know what the number 1 regret was? Not living the life I could have lived, living someone else's life, not doing what I know I'm capable of. Guys, fuck that. That's all I got to say about that, okay? So get that burning desire. I do not want to be at the end of my life and have that thought process, right? Bringing on these goals, establishing these success habits, and taking freaking action prevents that from happening, okay? Very important. Okay, now, I teach multifamily. I've done single family, guys. I've flipped, wholesaled, 2,000 houses. Took me a long time to get the memo that I needed to focus on multifamily for my long-term hold strategy. Listen, you can make a lot of money flipping and wholesaling. I will tell you this, though. I have 5 students that made over 100,000 wholesaling multifamily as well. But in my business, multifamily, commercial multifamily, not duplexes and triplexes so much, just 5+ units. That's commercial multifamily. You'll find that it's a team sport. You can do this single family game on your own, no problem. Again, I did, but I would not try to do commercial multifamily by myself. It's a team sport. Now, here's the secret, though. You got to play to your strengths. Okay, there are different aspects to this multifamily business. You need someone that's good with analytics, okay, which is not me. You need someone that's outgoing and builds relationships. That's become me now. You need someone that's great, that's process-driven to asset manage after you buy the asset. So there are lots of different components, lots of places you can fit in with your superpower. But if you try to build your weaknesses, you will not get far. If you focus on your strengths and then you hire, partner, or align for your weaknesses, you are going to kick butt, okay? Because you're both playing to your strengths. Now, when you're playing in your strengths, it's what you love, right? So you're good at it. And you're going to enjoy it. And you have the ability to inspire people and raise money and do deals and influence people because you love it. So just remember that. Play to your strengths. When you love what you do, not only do you never work another day in your life, but success is inevitable. Okay? That's how things work. So how do you find your strengths? You can do a Myers-Briggs test. You can do a DISC profile. Ask your friends. They'll tell you your weaknesses for sure. They'll tell you your strengths too. But guys, don't live somebody else's life. Very, very important. Because again, if you're playing to your strengths, you'll be inspired And if you're inspired, you'll be passionate. If you're passionate, people want to be around you. They want to work with you. They want to give you money to invest in properties. They want to, do deals with you. But you need that passion. And by the way, if you don't love this real estate game yet, it's okay. It's okay. You may not. And that's true. There may be people in this room that probably don't love it yet. I'm going to tell you, you can learn to love things, even exercise. I had to do that for myself. But you can learn to love things if you associate pleasure with it. Now, like for me, I tell people, equate it to hunting for buried treasure. Okay? That's what real estate is. But let me say this to you. If you can't learn to love it, for God's sakes, go do something else. Life is too freaking short. Okay? Seriously. Go find something that you can have passion with. But when you have passion, it eliminates fear. It's fuel. I mean, it's fuel so that you take massive freaking action. All right, so I talked about peer group already. That was my next thing here. But let me say this. So I host the largest multifamily mastermind, I'm pretty sure, in the world. There's 14 billion in assets in there. And so why did I set it up? So I had 16 people come to my compound in Sarasota the first time. It was about $1 billion in assets represented. Because I've been in masterminds. I told you, I was in Tony Robbins' mastermind when 08 happened. Thank God. Because there were people in there that were thriving through that, okay? And I mean, I'm losing everything. And they're like, shut up and go make something happen, And they wouldn't let me whine. And you want to be around people like that. You want to be around people that aren't afraid, that's what you're doing in this room, obviously. But that's what you need to be around this, because I don't know about you, but I want to be around people that think what I think is hard is easy, right? Because they're going to shorten the learning curve. And that's why I started my mastermind. And like I said, now it's turned into this freaking monster. But be careful who you hang out with. I talked about this. I won't belabor it, but it's probably one of the most important pieces of success. It truly is. All right. Now, there are successful habits that empower you, and there are non-successful habits that disempower you. Very easy to define on the health front, right? Obviously. But they're also in business. Like sometimes I'll even get caught doing busy work. Like I'll have my students call me or email me and say, what do you think of this logo? And I'm like, I don't give a shit about your logo. How many brokers did you call today? How many deals did you look at? How many deals did you analyze? Don't send me your damn logo. And so it's easy to have these habits that disempower you. In fact, there's a book about this. My love language is books. Gifts. Sorry, my love language is gifts. That's my brain going right there. My love language is gifts. In fact, I just had the author of the 5 love languages on my podcast. It was a real treat for me because I've given away thousands of his books. Now, so my students get lots of gifts from me, and one of them is The Slight Edge. It's a book about those little decisions you make that traject your life up or down. They don't mean anything the day you do it, like that Whopper with cheese I had on the way up here because I didn't have any time, but anyway, so you know what they are, guys. Now, your success habits, are either gonna traject your life up or down. Success habits would be having focus and clarity on your goals, focusing on results, not the busy work. I get trapped to cleaning my desk off sometimes. We all do that stuff, but you got to focus on results. Like I hired a coach back when I was losing everything in 08, and he had me focus on income generating activity. What a concept, right? I mean, I was all over the place. Success habits would be taking massive action, building relationships, staying healthy. If you're going to do this, guys, if you're going to do this and you have a W-2 job or another business and you're going to do this real estate side hustle and you've got kids, it takes incredible energy. So you've got to manage that energy by, obviously eating well and drinking well and exercise. You have to, because that's what it's going to take. And I've got students that have retired from incredibly high-paying jobs with the kids and the family and everything else. But, it takes energy. You've got to have incredible self-discipline. Next thing I want to talk about is tenacity and not giving up. When I lost everything in 08, I built this litigation support company. I was helping families save their homes. We helped thousands of families save their homes. It was good work, but I hated the company because nobody's happy when they're losing their home. But I sold it a couple years ago. But here's the thing. In 2010, I almost lost it, and I almost let it go, and I was going to bankrupt it, actually. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the book 3 Feet from the Gold. I had to innovate. I had to pivot, and I innovated, and I pivoted and turned into a $10 million company with 60 employees. Like I said, I sold a couple years ago. But I almost gave up. And In fact, in last year in May, I was supposed to have 800 people in Orlando. I had 400 people that had paid. I was freaking out over this COVID thing. I'm like, what are we going to do? So if you go to multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, you'll see my happy ass recording the video talking about, it's still up there. I should change it one of these days. But, you know, I went live stream and I built a video studio in my compound, and now I've had thousands of people. By the way, let me mention that. I have another boot camp coming up August 28th, 29th. Yeah, I'll give you a code. You can come for $47 freaking dollars. And it's 18 hours and I don't sell anything. So if that's too much, you're going to bitch at me about guru mentor spending. Yeah, anyway, but I'm just messing with you. Anyway, so I don't sell anything. It's 18 hours of training. If you write a couple things down here, because I need to give you a code to come for $47. Now, if you get the price goes up, the price is about to go up. No, this is not. The price really does go up. It'll be $97 if you wait till Monday. So if you want to come for $47, do it now. And again, it's 18 hours. I've never had a freaking complaint. Thousands of people have come, never had a complaint except that the breaks are too short. Because what I did is I took my 3-day boot camp and I turned it into 2 days. But if you text multifamily to 72345, multifamily, one word, 72345, and just remember the code RODFRIEND, okay? And you come for $47. Anyway, why did I bring that up right then? Oh, because I had to pivot and innovate. You know, I had to pivot and go live stream, and we're talking about tenacity, not giving up. So again, multifamily to 72345. Use the code RODFRIEND. You know what? Hey Siri. No, let me just text to make sure that's up and running, so I don't screw you guys up here. 1 second. Perry. Did it work? Oh, good. August 28th and 29th. Yeah, it's a Saturday and Sunday, and I go for 18 freaking hours. And trust me, those 15-minute breaks are harder on me than they are on you, because I got to pee and eat and everything else. But anyway, all right. So tenacity. Tenacity is courage. It's resolve. It's strength of character. It's strength of will. It's backbone, fortitude. It's not freaking giving up. Are you going to have setbacks? Are you going to get your butt kicked and your nose bloodied? You better believe it, okay? And if you're not trying. Bottom line, you're just not. Setbacks are feedback. Seriously, that's what they are. And so, you know, it's getting knocked down 99 times and getting up 100. You know, again, I failed my way to success. I told you I've had probably 20 businesses that have been seminars, okay? But 3 have been home runs, right? So anyway, we fail our way to success. We do not fear failure. We fear freaking regret. That's what we fear. But when you have normal talent, average talent, and extraordinary tenacity, success is inevitable, okay? It's grit. You know, it's staying focused on the goal no matter what happens. I'll give you a success formula. This is from Tony Robbins. I spent 20 years following him around the planet, and that's where I got a lot of the motivational stuff. Best in the world. If you have an opportunity to see him, just freaking do it. But here's his success formula. Have your eye on the goal. If you hit a wall, you change your approach, keeping your eye on the goal. If you hit a wall, you change your approach, keeping your eye on the goal. You guys get the message? You just change your freaking approach. Success is not a straight line. Success is like all over the freaking place, but you keep your eye on the freaking goal so you maintain that burning desire. Does that make sense? Okay. And again, it's only a failure if you don't get the lesson or you give up. That's when it's a failure. That's when it's not a seminar anymore. Yeah, I already said that. Okay. All right. Wow, I'm kicking ass tonight. Okay. Thank God, because I'm tired. Okay. Now I'm gonna land the plane with a couple things, and we're gonna talk about multifamily. Okay. The next one is gratitude. Guys, if there's anything you want in life, you're gonna get it with gratitude. Gratitude is the most important emotion we have to use, actually, for success even, okay? Gratitude makes us stronger when we face adversity. It strengthens our immune system. It makes our heart stronger. It lowers our blood pressure. But the big thing is it brings what you want into your life. So in the mornings, and I'll lose some of you analytical ones on this, but again, this is how come I have a $55,000 watch on my hand and lots of shit at home, okay? Because and again, that's not ego, but I'm just trying to tell you that it's not about the tech, it's not about the vehicle, it's not about the technology, it's not about the mechanics, it's about you taking freaking action, okay? And so every morning I will sit in my little recliner for 3 minutes, or sometimes I'll do it laying in bed, and I'll just be grateful. I have the most beautiful wife in the world. She's spectacularly physically beautiful. In fact, if you Google Rod Cleef, wife shows up usually first, because I say that and everybody goes and looks. But she's much more beautiful on the inside. I will say that right out of the gate. But anyway, so I'll be grateful for her. I'll be grateful for my kids. I'll be grateful for my students. I'll be grateful for my foundation. Then I will be grateful for the things that I want as if I already have them. Thank you, God. I've gotten emotional being grateful for things I don't even have yet, okay? But it freaking works, okay? Trust me on this. I'm telling you. I know I lost a few of you, but if you want if there are things you want, you do this. I'm telling you it works. So it's the way God or the universe, whatever you bring, you believe works. Gratitude is what attracts what you want into your life. I wish I'd have brought my planner. I wish I'd have thought of it. Like I said, in the back, I've got pictures of things that I wanted, but the first pictures are my gratitude pictures of my kids when they were very young. And then I've got the stuff that I wanted. Like I said, I got everything in there. I mean, the cars, the homes, I had a $10 million mansion out on Casey Key in Sarasota. In fact, I'll tell you that story. Right now. So I lived in Denver, right? But I knew I always wanted to live on the beach. And there's no beach in Denver. But I would visualize the palm trees and the sand and the surf and, of course, the bikinis. And, I knew I wanted to live on the beach. So 20 years later, I built this $8 million, I said 10 million, $8 million, 10,000 square foot mansion in Casey Key. I owned the beach on one side. I had my boats on the back side. I mean, this place was freaking spectacular. Giant waterfall, second floor balcony of the pool. I had probably $40,000 worth of trees that bend out over the pool, tools and magazines. And to just describe the house somewhat, elevator, wine cellar, giant spiral staircase up through the middle. On the second floor, I had aquariums that cost me almost 20 grand, curved around. So it gives you an idea house. And I worked for this thing for 20 freaking years, okay? 2 months after I moved in, I'm floating in the pool at night. My family's inside sleeping. Pool's changing colors. It's magnificent. And I'm looking up at this testament to my ego. That's really what it was. I built this house to prove the world I was good enough. Okay, I told you that was my question. How can I show them I'm good enough? So I built this freaking testament to my ego. And I'm looking up at this thing, and I got depressed. Okay, I mean, this is 2 months after I moved in. And I mean, I wasn't just a little bummed. I was really bummed. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I've just achieved success like times 10,000. How could I possibly be depressed? There were several things going on, and that's one I want to share with you. One is, you should never achieve a big goal without having other goals lined up behind it, right? Like the good book says, without a vision, the people perish. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do next. So that was number one. Number two is it's never about the goals. You got to have them. You got to have them because that's what's going to push you and pull you and propel you. You've got to have them. But it's never about the goals. Happiness comes from progress and growth. Even a little bit of progress and growth and you're happy. It's not about, they say the happiest days of a boat owner's life are the day they buy the boat and then the day they sell the boat. Have you heard that? Because it's never about that. It's about growth and progress. And one of the things I do at my boot camp is I teach this weekly planning process, and that's one of the components because it's so freaking important. So I wasn't progressing. That was number two. But number three was I'd just been focused on me. How can I show the world I'm good enough, that I matter? It was rod this, rod that. And so I went out and bought a bunch of books. I'm going to beat this thing. I'm not going to go lay on a couch and cry to a therapist, although I believe in therapy, but wasn't going to do it back then. And so I bought some books, Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins back then, Tony Robbins. And I read Tony's book. I'm like, hey, I'm really liking this. So I went and saw him live. And I saw that he fed families for the holidays, right? And he's done millions. But I decided I'm going to try that. What a concept. Do something for somebody else one day. And so I went to Denver. I flew to Denver for Thanksgiving, grabbed my brother, Ed, and we went to his church and said, who really needs help? We found 5 families that really needed help. And the third family changed my life. We go up to this, you guys might have them in South St. Pete, but these row houses where, you've got 4 units and you walk through into the living room, you walk through the bedroom to get to the kitchen, which has the bathroom off it. I mean, they're just shitty. You don't even have a bedroom really. And this lady lived there with 5 kids. And we bought toys for the kids. We bought a frozen turkey for Thanksgiving and all kinds of just boxes of food. We put that on the porch. She comes out. She sees all this and she starts crying. Her kids come out. The older ones start crying. I start crying. And I'm hooked. And I'm blessed to say that over the last what is this, 20 years, we've fed 100,000 kids in Sarasota, Manatee County, and Hillsborough. I give some to Kevin Buff. Thank you. Thank you. Although I'm not telling you that, I'm not telling you that for that. I'm telling you because there's a message in this, a really important message. We've done tens of thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies, tens of thousands of teddy bears to the local police departments for their officers to have in their vehicles when they encounter a child, that's been traumatized. And see, I was successful. I was unfulfilled. And Tony Robbins calls it the science of achievement versus the art of fulfillment. Fulfillment really is an art. So the reason I bring this up is you must bring contribution into your life right now if you're not doing it already. Here's why. We've been taught to achieve to be happy, right? When you give back in any fashion, you are happily achieving. Now, I know that sounds like a play on words, but it's a really important play on words because not only are you going to be happier, you're going to get the success so much faster. Now, we don't do it for that reason. We do it because it juices us. So figure out what you love: children, animals, elderly, the environment. I don't care what it is, whatever you're passionate about, and give back in some fashion. And if you tell me you're going to wait till you have money, big mistake, because the money will come much faster even if you just give of your time right now. Trust me on this, okay? And so that's contribution, guys. We have two hands, one to pull ourselves up, one to pull people up underneath us. And we really do rise by lifting others up. And that's why I'm here dog-tired, because I committed to being here and because I love this and I love giving back. And that's the truth of it, okay? So let's shift gears. Shake all that off and let's shift gears. Any questions about any of that? I mean, that really doesn't lend itself to questions so much. All right, let's talk about multifamily. So, no, I lost the house. I'm really glad you said that, actually. No, I lost the house and all the bullshit. And what's really funny is I live in a compound now. I've got a big main house. I've got a beautiful guest house on the water. I've got a giant exercise room that rivals any gym. I've got a theater room. I've got my video studio, 6-car garage. And because God's got a sense of humor, my old house is right across the bay. I see it every day when I go in the backyard. True story. True story. It's really funny, actually. All right. You saw, right? Didn't I show it to you guys when you were there? Yeah. All right. So, multifamily. I freaking love multifamily because, again, when I was losing everything, here's why I lost everything. I get asked this all the time. So I had 800 houses, right? 30% loan to value, and I still crashed and burned. Here's why. Of course, it's all about cash flow. Florida has no state income tax, right? So property taxes, I'm going to tell you, because you live here, you may not realize it, but they're proportionally higher than the rest of the country because there's no state income tax. I had properties in wind and flood zones along the coast here. That's higher insurance, right? Which impacts what? Cash flow. But here's what killed me. If I had a maintenance issue at a house in Newport Richie, well, let me back up. If I had a maintenance issue at one of my apartment complexes, everything's the same. The doorknobs, the appliances, the HVAC, the plumbing parts, everything's the same. So we could stockpile parts, and they're in and out in an hour, right? Well, if I had to send somebody to a house up in Newport Richie, and it's an hour and a half away, then they'd have to go find a Home Depot or a Lowe's. They'd have to go see what's wrong because every house is different, right? Then they'd have to go find a Home Depot or a Lowe's. And I don't know about you, but anytime I fix something, I go to Home Depot or Lowe's more than once. And what took an hour at one of my apartment complexes took all day at one of my 800 houses. Now, these houses were C-class. And the reason I bring that up, if you know these classes, is C-class is going to have a lot more maintenance than an A and B class. It's just a tougher demographic, right? And so that really killed me. But then the final straw was I didn't pay attention to tenant demographics. I didn't really look at where my tenants worked. As long as they could pay the rent and their credit wasn't shitty, I'd let them rent, obviously, right? You don't think about that higher level stuff in single family. Well, most of my tenants were plumbers, electricians, drywallers, painters, roofers, which fell off a freaking cliff in 2009. So they didn't have work. And what's really interesting is I actually went upside down. My portfolio fell more than 70% here. And that's like, fuck it, I'm done. I was done. All right, anyway. But what was interesting, and the reason I started my podcast is my multifamily did just fine. Yeah, it pulled back about 11%, but I could have easily survived if in my brilliance I hadn't cross-collateralized packages of houses with my multifamily to save a 0.5% interest. So I lost it all. Anyway, but again, I wouldn't have met my wife, so it's all good. Anyway, so the first thing you do in this multifamily game is you got to look in the mirror and decide and do kind of a self-evaluation and come up with some investment criteria. You got to decide what size and class multifamily you're going to go after. You got to decide where you're going to buy, right? Now, you guys are great market here in Tampa. In fact, that's one of the regrets I have for living in Sarasota is that, I almost wish I'd have moved up here because there's just so much opportunity up here to do business. It really is. I mean, you guys are blessed. There's no reason for you to go outside of this market at all. But you got to decide where you're going to buy. You got to decide what size property you're going to buy. You've got to assess your resources, including potential team members and potential partners. And again, you play to your strengths. You hire a line or partner for your weaknesses. And if you decide to do this and you're going to partner, I've got a free resource. It's all the questions you should ask before you get into a partnership. So if you're interested in that, write this down. If you text the word partnership to 72345, I'll get you that book. It's free, and it's every possible question, because partnerships, like a marriage, easy to get into, very hard to get out of, okay? So, in my mastermind, I've got a lady that had 4,000 doors, and she had to dissolve a partnership. A guy that had, I think, 5,000 doors had to dissolve a partnership because they didn't ask all the hard questions up front. You got to ask those hard questions up front. But that's not to fear partnerships, guys, but just recognize that that's, you got to ask those questions up front. So, in fact, I just got a new partnership with this new asset we put under contract in San Antonio. Did I mention that already? We put a 269 unit under contract. Well, I have a new partnership. And in fact, we just got the rough draft of the partnership document back from the attorney. And he and I went through that list of questions to make sure we're on the same page. There's nothing wrong with that. But you get into a partnership, you get all excited in the emotion of it, and you don't ask the tough questions. And that's when things go wrong, guys. So trust me on that. Make sure you get that resource if you decide to do that. By the way, if you're accredited and you want to invest with us in the San Antonio deal, text the word partner to 72345. Now, accredited means you make $200,000 a year, or you have $1 million net worth without your personal residence. But I take passive investors in my deals, and I spend a lot of time teaching them behind the scenes what's going on too. So if you're interested, text partner, and we'll get you on my calendar to chat. Okay, so once you do your investment criteria, then you've got to brand yourself in this business. So you got to hang a shingle, right? The name of my company is CRE Equity Capital. Okay, and if you guys have questions along the way here, just raise your hand. I'm happy to take questions. But that's the name of my company. Now, you guys live in the greatest freaking time on earth to create reach. Okay, I mean, because in this business, you're going to want to raise money, right? You're going to want to talk to investors. You're going to want to talk to brokers. You're going to want to, create some reach. And social media is freaking unbelievable. The podcast, I mean, like I said, I never planned what's happened with my podcast. And then I used to tell people, I'll never sell you anything. Now I'm a freaking liar, like I said, but I never planned to, because I just wanted to help. Truly, I just wanted to add value. I would take free phone calls from my listeners, and then when I hit 1 million downloads, I'm like, okay, stupid, you probably better do something with this. And so I wrote a book. I gave away 20,000 copies of the book. In fact, it just went live on Amazon this week. It's been 3 years. Finally go live on Amazon. Anyway, and then I started doing courses and coaching. But you guys have this incredible opportunity with social media to create that reach once you start your brand, and just add. And here's the secret. I mean, you can do Facebook. I've got the largest multifamily Facebook group in the world. I mean, there's 41,000 people. It just blows my mind. My YouTube videos got watched for 40,000 hours last year. I just found that out. Like, what? And it's just my interviews on my podcast. But you guys, even if you only have 500 people that you're adding value to, and you hit them up when you've got a deal and you need some money, you're off to the freaking races, right? So you guys have an incredible opportunity to create that reach with very little effort. But here's the secret, okay? This is very, very important. Focus on 2 things. If you're going to do this, if you want to start a podcast, ping me. I'll help you. I've got some resources. I'll help you with that. I've helped people set up award-winning podcasts in my Warrior group, my mentorship coaching students, award-winning podcasts. But I'm happy to help you if you want to start that. If you have questions about creating reach on LinkedIn, you can hit me up, because we're killing it there. Instagram, I'm not doing as well, but it's really not my demographic. And I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, this is what I'm having for dinner. That's my dog, and I can't do that shit. Yeah. But anyway, they just got me on TikTok, and I didn't think I'd want to do that, but I found myself seeing TikTok videos now. So, okay, fine, I'll do TikTok. Anyway, but hit me up, and I'll help you if you want to create some reach, okay? and I really enjoy adding value. So when you're, I don't have to tell you that because you guys really should buy here. Usually I'll suggest some markets to consider, but you're crazy not to do it here. Now, when you're evaluating a submarket, let me give you some websites you can use that'll help you evaluate what the vacancy rate is, what the demographic makeup is, what's happening with population, income, and jobs. And those are the three things that are most important. If you decide to go outside of Tampa, Tampa's killing it, but the websites are bestplaces.net. Another one is bestplaces.net. Another one is datausa.io. And the last one is city-data.com. I know I'm doing that kind of fast. You guys are trying to put them in your phone. City-data.com. So if you want to research a market, and I would suggest that you play around with that, okay? Play around with those websites and just play around with seeing what's going on in these different markets. And when you play with it, and that's the operative word, guys, is play. When you play with it, you'll educate yourself, and it won't be so intimidating. But then what you want to do is you want to start building relationships. Again, we're talking commercial multifamily now. I'm talking 5 units plus. Now, why do I love commercial? Let me tell you the difference real quick. So duplex, triplex, fourplex, Northeast, if you're in Boston, it's 2-family, 3-family, 4-family. They're fantastic, okay? Great place to house hack, move in one unit, live for free, rent the other ones out. Great place to get started. But the negative is you can't ramp the value like you can with commercial multifamily. Why? Because commercial multifamily is valued based on a multiple of the net income, okay? So I'll give you an example of this. I'll give you a couple extreme examples. Because any improvement to that net income is an exponential improvement to the value. It's like $17 to $20 per dollar increase in annual revenue, okay? So I'll give you an example. We bought an asset they're called assets when we talk shop here. They're called assets, not properties. We bought an asset in Dayton, Ohio. Actually, Beaver Creek, a suburb of Dayton, which is a really high-end suburb of Dayton. 101 units. And shortly after we bought it, it got destroyed by a tornado. I mean, wiped out. All 101 families had to move. Thank God nobody died. I mean, a couple people had to have surgery. They're okay. But I'll tell you, I flew there the next day, and there was this lady pulling her clothes out because all the utilities were off, water everywhere. And she was pulling her clothes out, and she told me that her son was up in his bedroom upstairs, and thank God his phone went off with the early alarm system. By the time he got downstairs and woke her up, his bedroom was gone. So, I mean, it could have been really bad. But anyway, we are getting a $650 per unit rent bump. Now, at $500 per unit, that's a $10 million instant increase in value. That's why we like this business, guys, okay? And the numbers work for a 20 unit, a 30 unit, a 40 unit. Anything you can do to improve that net income is an exponential increase to the value. So what we do is we buy what's called value add properties. Like we've got an asset in Dallas, 208 units, and we got a $250 rent bump there, $10 million increase in value. Okay, then it's instant the minute you get those rents up, okay, and that NOI is there for a month or two. So that's what we look for, is opportunities to buy a property, improve it through our work, like the San Antonio asset. We are going to, some of the units have been upgraded already. We're going to upgrade, I think, about 140 of them with, LVT flooring, new countertops, new appliance package, and we'll get I think on the pro forma I saw tonight, like a $9 million increase in value once we get those rents up. That's why we like this business, guys. Okay, so you want to develop relationships with people to work with us in this business. The first one is brokers. Now, of course, right now they're the bell of the ball, right? Because they're, I mean, just you put a place on the market, it's sold just like that. But trust me, guys, when I tell you, now you might not like hearing this, but this feels like 2006 to me. I'm just telling you right now, okay? And I went through it. I know you're probably not liking hearing that. Now, is that something to fear? No. Is this something to get ready for? Hell yes, okay? And so I'm getting in a lot of cash right now. I'm not going to hide under a rock this time, okay? This time I'm not going to get crushed by the wave. I'm surfing that fucking thing. But anyway, so the point is you get ready for it, okay? Both eyes wide open. You don't fear it, okay? Get in cash if you can, or if you're going to talk to people to invest with you, pre-frame them. Say, hey, listen, if what I think is going to happen and, there's blood running in the streets, don't be afraid, because that is the best time for us to buy. And you pre-frame them, you get them ready so they're not in fear when it happens. Because it doesn't have to be your money, guys. You were talking about the no money down thing. Guys, I bought 2,300 doors with my students, and I'm probably not the greatest example of this, but I don't have a dime in those 2,300 units, and I put about $1.5 million in my pocket just in acquisition fees. You can do the same freaking thing. Yes, this business takes money, but it doesn't have to be your money. Okay, for example, when you buy an asset, you've got to lock it up. You've got to have earnest money. Like the San Antonio deal is $600 grand. We got two people putting up that $600 grand. It's called the at-risk capital. They're putting it up. Now they're getting 5% of the general partnership for doing that. I'm not putting it up. You can do the same thing, guys. Okay, you can have, because there's, again, if you understand this business and you're passionate about it, so you can influence people to invest with you, and you're credible and you know what the heck you're talking about because you took the time to learn it, you can influence people to invest. And you focus on finding the deals, the money will find. If you find a deal, come see Rod. I'll help you do the deal, okay? Seriously. But the point is, brokers, I was talking about, I'm kind of all over the place here, but brokers, you need relationships with commercial real estate brokers. How do you find out who the best ones are? You go on loopnet.com. That's like the MLS for commercial real estate's the biggest. There are other ones, but that's the biggest. And you just see who the big dogs are. Who's got the most listings of the type and size that you want to go after? If you're going to go after 10 units, who's got the most 10 units? 20, 30, 40? Go look on there and look. I would not call them first, though. I would practice on someone else first and just kind of get the nomenclature down, the verbiage down a little bit. Learn what to say. And guys, if you have any interest in this at all, respectfully, you're crazy not to come spend 2 days with me, because I don't sell anything, again. But regardless, whether you learn from me or not, learn the business so that you can speak intelligently. And then once you feel like you got your mojo a little bit, then call the ones you want to connect with, okay? Brokers can make you freaking wealthy. They will not always be, oh, that's where I went there. That's right, because they're the belle of the ball right now. That will not always be the case, trust me. It'll get back to normal here eventually. And when it does, if you've already developed, and see, here's the thing. This is why this is the perfect time to learn this business, because if you're interested in multifamily, because if you've got relationships set up, you've pushed through and learned the business, you've pushed through enough where you're not fearful about it anymore. When the market does shift, watch out, you will kill it. Now, if it shifts and you don't know the business, you're not gonna be able to capitalize on it. So again, great time if you have any interest to learn, because I do believe, it's like anything. Yes, sir. No, not at all. People have to have a place to live. Have you noticed they don't give assistance to retail, strip center owners. They don't give assistance to office building owners. Those guys are getting crushed right now. They give assistance to tenants. There's an eviction moratorium right now, which is killing some, especially in the blue states. They're getting killed right now with these moratoriums. But no, man. I mean, listen, you've got to be conservative. You got to know the business well enough so that you don't make a mistake, honestly. Have someone that knows what they're doing. And this is not self-serving, but someone like me looking over your shoulder if it's the first time you've done a larger deal, because it's a different way to value it. It's a different way to assess it, different way to, do your due diligence on it. But no, man, I mean, dude, if I hadn't been hiding under a rock, pissed off, fearful, because I lost everything that I truly thought I was set for life, I'd be on the back of my freaking yacht right now, okay, seriously, because the opportunity was unbelievable when it happened. I'll tell you a quick story about crashes, and then I'll answer your question. I had houses, I had 500 houses in Denver, right? And I had flipped a house, bought it for 56. I know the address, 3351 West 30th. I flipped it, 56,000. I paid for it, sold it for 76. Quick flip. The market crashed in the late 80s. I bought that house back for 18,000. Same house. 4 or 5 years later, I sold it for 160. You know what it's worth now? It's gentrified. It's worth like about $1 million now. True story. Absolute true story. That's what real estate does, and it's okay. And you don't try to time it. You just be aware. And I was, I heard, who was it? I interviewed a lady today, and she's like, she was telling her students she knew it was coming. I'm like, really? Like, shit, I didn't know it was coming. And I mean, countries went bankrupt back then. That's what I say to make myself feel better. Yes, sir. I tell you, it's even hard to rent now. I mean, I've got one of my employees is in Miami. He's like, we have our meetings every Tuesday, and he's like, I got a place. You know, they're going in like 2 hours, and you got a place. But anyway, all right. So you need relationships with brokers. You need relationships with local bankers. If you don't already have one, you know, I'm not talking about Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Fifth Third, Chase, BB&T, none of those. I'm talking about a local or regional bank. And you go open an account there and you go find out who does the commercial lending. And you go and say, hey, can I buy you lunch, and get to know them? They can freaking make you wealthy, because when the market crashes and they get properties back, they are not in the landlording business, guys. And if you listen to my podcast, you'll start to actually hear a pattern. The guys that have thousands of units, guys and gals that have thousands of units, most of them started in 9, 10, and 11. That's a clue, right? But I know I've interviewed quite a few of them that got bank-owned properties back then, and the banks financed them. So build a relationship with those bankers. The other thing is, you know, if you've got a good relationship with a banker, I've got students that have gotten 100% financing, 1.3 million, 100% financing. Andrew Fleeman got a deal. You know, and I in fact interviewed a guy on my podcast that had a relationship with a banker, about $1 million property with bank financing for $5,000 down. The bank allowed the seller to carry a second because he had a relationship with a banker. So again, do not underestimate that relationship. Get to know them, find out who they are, find out who their kids are, get to know them, because it can be worth its weight in gold. Another way to get up to speed on this business is well, you've got to evaluate a lot of deals. You know, you've got to get to a point where you can smell if a deal's a good deal, right? And so you've got to evaluate a lot of deals. And the unfortunate thing is, if you get a package from a broker, they're going to send you something called a pro forma, okay? And it's what they think the property will do. And some of them know what they're doing, many of them don't. And there is a little bit of secondary gain there to influence you to buy the property, right? Okay, they don't get paid unless it sells. I equate pro formas to toilet paper. You've got to get the actual numbers. And unfortunately, you don't get that in many cases until you have it under contract now. But I would encourage you to check out commercial real estate auctions. And if no other reason than they're going to be big if the market contracts, and if you understand them and you're not fearful of them, there could be big opportunity there, but with a couple caveats here. But you register on all the commercial real estate auction websites. There's about 12 of them. And just start getting alerts. But don't use your own email address. They'll drive you freaking crazy. Set up a separate email for that. But if you bid on a property at auction and you're the successful bidder, it's your deal. And for the opportunity to bid, you put up a nice chunk deposit. And if you don't buy, you lose that money, right? So when you get a package on an auction property, they'll give you every freaking thing. The kitchen sink, you'll see appraisals, surveys, environmental reports, you know, things that will help you learn this business. And you'll get actual numbers. Great place to learn. It's a great learning ground. So if you really want to learn this business, I would encourage you to start there. You know, come to my boot camp and I'll show you how to work through those. But one caveat, because you know, in a normal environment like this San Antonio deal, our money is going hard, meaning it's going non-refundable on the 30th of this month. So that's why I'm flying out there Tuesday to do the due diligence, okay? In a normal environment, you have 30 days to do your due diligence. You know, you scope the lines, you check the leases, you check everything, and you have the ability to back out and not lose your money. Well, in this hot market, we have to go hard almost immediately. So, but in a normal market, you don't. But with an auction property, the due diligence, you're doing the due diligence on a property in advance, and you're not even sure you're going to get it, right? And so it's going to be cursory at best. And here's the thing. Sellers sometimes that will use an auction to hide a defect. So if you're going to do an auction deal, have someone like me or someone like me looking over your shoulder at least, so you don't have a seminar. All right. Okay, now, when you are certain about your market, I mean, it's for sure. You know you're going to buy in a particular market. And I would, again, encourage you to use your backyard here because it's awesome. And I mean, when I say your backyard, you could do Orlando, you could do Lakeland. I mean, you know, anywhere around here, even down my neck of the woods, although it's freaking stupid expensive down there. But once you pick that submarket, well, first of all, you need to become an expert in it, okay? You need to know what the market rents are. You need to know what's going on there. You need to have done your homework. You need to know what businesses are going in, going out, all that stuff, okay? Don't dabble in this. Dabblers get their butts kicked, okay? Focus on it and make it happen. But once you pick that market, I would highly encourage you, if you know you're going to focus there, to go direct to seller. I would highly encourage you to do that and do a mailer. Now, I'm not talking about mailing thousands of people. Who's the guy that does the skip trace in here? Was that you? Yeah. You know, the thing you're going to find, he will be a great resource for what I'm going to describe right now. The thing you're going to find is most people that own a commercial piece of property, even a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 unit, are going to put it in an entity. It's going to be in an LLC or a corporation. And if you mail to the registered agent of that entity, where do you think that mail goes, right? So you want to break down the entity. But here's what I'm, and you could help do that, yes? Yeah. So you go to Sunbiz and you break it all down. Okay. Well, however you do it. So you know, I used to have VAs do it. I had 8 virtual assistants doing this. I was going to do mobile home parks in a lifetime ago, and I never pulled the trigger. But I did the whole country for a year. I had them working, breaking down entities, getting me the owners' home addresses and phone numbers. And I actually gave the list to Beardy Brandon, Bigger Pockets. It's a long story, but anyway. Where was that? Squirrel. Anyway, so mailers. Now, here's the thing. Mail people that have owned 20 plus years, ideally. If the list is too small, go to 10. Here's why. Well, I'll tell you why in a second. But it's going to be a much smaller list. Even in freaking Hillsboro, you do 5 to 30 units that have owned 20 years. It's not going to be thousands, most likely. It's going to be a few hundred. Okay, that's number one. But you want to break down that list and mail them at home. Okay, now I'm going to give you some tips for the mailer, okay? And I'm going to, now let me just say this. The average response rate on mail is 0.5%. If you get 1%, you're freaking doing backflips, okay? When I tell you doing the things that I did, no bullshit, we got a 6 to 9% response rate. 100 letters, 6 to 9 responses. Here's what we did, okay? I'll give you some ninja tricks here, okay? First thing is, I mean, the obvious stuff is you handwrite the envelopes, okay? On the letter, you type it, and you need to have the property address in the first line. That's the owner's information there, property address in the first line. If you can have a picture of you and your smiling family, absolutely enhances the response. But here's the ninja trick. And I don't think I've ever said this publicly before. Well, I maybe have said it once. The first thing is you have to have multiple ways for them to contact you. Obviously, phone number, email, duh. I would recommend, I set up a little website, thecleeffamily.com. It's not up anymore, I don't think. But it was just one page with a contact us form. Okay, another way for them to contact us. But here's the ninja trick. These old people, what's their tried and true method of communication? No, mail. And so I used to send them a self-addressed stamped envelope. So because you double the postage because you're paying for the return stamp. But it just said, hey, property address is, asking price, how many units? And it was incredibly effective, okay? So there's my ninja trick. But guys, when you do all that, and then it's not a once and done mailer. You mail it, then you do it again in 3 months, you do it again in 3 months, and the second time maybe you do a postcard. The third time, maybe you do an invitation envelope that everybody opens, but you change it up. And I've got students that bought thousands of doors that way. So, and then if you really, you know, I teach this, if you're willing to do what other people won't, you will always be a success. You know, between year 2 and year 3, I told you made 10 grand, they made 100 grand. You know what I did in year 3? Is I knocked on doors of people who were in foreclosure. Hey, you know, I was down at the courthouse. I saw you having some trouble with countrywide funding. That was the big one back then. And, you know, and I help people when they're in foreclosure. And I bought 500 houses that way, guys. Okay. Okay. But I'll tell you, those first couple of doors, they were, yeah, well, let's just say they were that big, okay? Walking up to the door. Sorry, I was scared. But anyway, again, but at any time you're willing to do what other people won't, you'll be a success. So let me give you a strategy. Cold calling. Now, you don't have to do it. If you get the phone numbers, you can hire somebody to call them and say, hey, my boss wanted me to call you. He saw your property, or she saw your property, and she needs to buy a place in the next 30 days, or he needs to buy a place in the next 30 days. I know this is out of the blue, but if you have any interest in selling, can I connect you guys for a call? How hard is that? And you can get leads that way. But most of you won't do it, but it works. I'm just here to tell you, I've got students that are killing it doing that, okay? So, all right, mailing, cold calling. Yeah, I interviewed these guys on my podcast. Didn't have anything when I first met them and coached them a little bit. Now they've got 1,200 doors, but When I interviewed them, they just closed on a 50 unit that they found by driving around looking for rundown units, right? Everybody does it for houses. Nobody does it for multifamily, okay? So that's number one. But they had a 48 unit under contract that they found by calling for rent ads on Craigslist and saying, hey, are you interested in selling? Again, doing what other people aren't willing to do. I've got a student that used to drive by this eightplex in his little small town, and it was beat up, and finally heard me in his ear saying, get off your ass, go make it happen. He knocked on the door. He now owns it. He now has 3 or 4 of them, 6 to 8 units that he found by knocking on the doors of people that live in his town saying, hey, do you own that 6 unit? And he's got, I think he's got 4 now, Matt Spangenberg. Yeah, I know he has 3 for sure. Anyway, doing what other people aren't willing to do. Now, we talked about wholesaling. Obviously, you can wholesale single family. I don't have to tell you what that means. I've got one person that I've coached that made $2 million wholesaling a multifamily package, okay? 5 students, including my brother, that made over 100,000 wholesaling multifamily. Okay, if you mail people that have owned 20 plus years, you're going to get retirees. And they are perfect for seller financing, okay? There is no greater financing than seller financing. You guys all know this, but here's why for an elderly seller. If most of the time, if they're selling a big asset, they're not going to take that money and put it into another high-risk investment. They're risk averse, right? They're retirees. And they're going to put it in the bank and live on the cash flow. If you do not have the conversation I'm about to share with them, you are doing them a disservice, honestly, because because when they sell, they're fully depreciated. So they're not going to have any tax benefits anymore. So they're going to end up with 60, 70 cents on the dollar. They're going to put the money in the bank at 1% interest. So you want to say something like this, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm buying your property for $1 million or whatever the number is. And you work this out, by the way, on a piece of paper. You don't just say this. You write it in front of them. Obviously Uncle Sam's going to take 30, 35%. So you end up with, say, $700,000. We're going to put that in the bank, right? Because you want the cash flow. Here's what your payment will be from the bank at 1% if you're able to get 1%. Now, if you work with me, I'm going to pay you enough of a down payment so you know I'm serious. And I'm going to pay you 3, 4, 5, 6% interest, whatever works financially for you. And you're only going to pay taxes on what you get from me every year. So your payment from me is 3 or 4 times what you're going to get from the bank. And it is. Guys, you're doing them a disservice if you don't do that. Let me say one other thing about this, especially if you're dealing with elderly sellers. Bond with them. Seller bonding is freaking huge. Focus on the relationship first and the property second. Not to take advantage of them, to create a win-win situation. And, because they're relationship driven when they get older. And so, I can tell you, I have bonded with sellers and I've done deals nothing down because they just wanted the payments and they trusted me and it was, and I wasn't going to fuck them and that's it. I just create a win-win. I've done a deal where I didn't make a payment for a year because the property was a train wreck and they knew it and they trusted me. And I said, I'm going to put the money into the property first, then I'll pay you. And it was the right thing to do because I bonded with them. So really important tip there. Now, remember, this multifamily business is not a get-rich-quick thing, but it is a become super freaking wealthy over time thing, okay? And you've got to take off your short game hat and put on your long game hat. If you decide to get into my business, a multifamily, you're going to do it the rest of your life. You're going to do it for decades, and that's how you own this, okay? And just remember that. And so, you're going to set it up like a business. I'll recommend CRMs. I can give you some right now. You want to set up a CRM to track who you're contacting. There's some free ones, Zoho, really simple systems, Insightly. Those are free. I use HubSpot now. In fact, I think you can use HubSpot initially free as well, and it's fantastic. But you need to set it up like a business. You are taking off that employee hat and putting on that entrepreneur hat, right? That's what you're doing when you get into this business, even single family. All right, a couple more quick things here. I'm fading. Okay, because rents are going up so fast, it is critical that you are careful when you are evaluating market rents. And here's what I mean by this, because you can make a big mistake here, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Well, I gave you some big examples of increases in value, because remember, any impact on the NOI is an exponential increase on the value. So if you are evaluating a property, you want to make sure it's apples to apples. So what do I mean by that? Obviously the same age property, same type property, same general area, but the amenities, for example, if the property you're looking at has washer dryer hookups and you compare it to one that doesn't, that could be a $50 per month per unit difference. And on a 20-unit building, just quickly do the math on this. Let's say, okay, say 20 times 50 times 12 equals, okay, 12,000 divided by, let's say, a 5 cap. Okay, a $50 increase on a 20-unit building is a $250,000 increase in value. Okay, big deal. Okay, I've got a friend who has a friend that screwed this up. In fact, what he did was he compared a property where the owner was paying all the utilities to one where one wasn't. It was a $150 difference. He could have wholesaled this thing and made $1 million. If I'd have been coaching him, obviously that wouldn't happen, but you know, seminar. Okay, so be careful evaluating market rents. Let me tell you, now, you got to be very careful about due diligence as well. Let's say that, let me just give you one quick tip on due diligence. Now, I've got a book on this. I don't know what the code is to call and get it. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a great first edition. If you text ROD to 72345, I've got something called the Multifamily Property Toolbook. It's 70 pages, no fluff in any of my stuff, by the way. There's no sales pitch, none of that. And it's every question I can think of when you're evaluating a property. So ROD to 72345. But let me just give you a high-level thing on due diligence. Let's say you looked at, by the way, we kissed about 300 frogs to find the San Antonio deal, okay? 300, okay? So let's say you looked at a couple hundred properties and you found a deal, and let's say it's in Orlando, so you're not really totally sure about it, but it looks really good. You get it under contract, you're doing backflips the whole way home to your spouse, and you're all excited. At that very moment, you need to stop, exhale, and put on the hat that says, why do I not want to do this deal? And that you're thinking, okay, that makes sense. That sounds easy. Well, it's not easy. Here's why. Because as human beings, when we make a big decision, we look for ways to shore up, bolster, and substantiate that original decision we make. And if you do that, you could make a mistake and you could overlook something you shouldn't overlook. So just remember that comment about due diligence. Very important. Sometimes the best deal is the one you don't do. Okay? Very important. Okay. Now, in this business, we syndicate deals as well. But joint ventures are fantastic. You guys, does anybody not know what a joint venture is? Raise your hand if you don't know what a joint venture is. Okay. By the way, I did millions of dollars worth of deals in my 20s joint venturing with people. They put up the money, we split them 50-50, everybody was happy, and that's absolutely very doable today. But syndications is another thing where you raise money for a deal, but here's the deal. If you take money from somebody and you just give them a rate of return and they're not active in the deal, you have to syndicate. You do not want the SEC knocking on your door, okay? Very important. So it's nothing to fear or be intimidated by. You just hire an SEC attorney and they handle the paperwork. But don't think you can, get around it. If it walks like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a freaking duck, and they will bust your ass. And they made examples of people in 2008 and 9 that went to jail because they tried, they were doing all this flipping nonsense, and appraisers were in on it and all that stuff. So just when the market shifts, there will be some examples made in the syndication market. Now, I'm not going to try to teach you syndication because I am truly wiped out. But guys, if you're serious about this, come spend a couple days with me. Like I said, I've never had a complaint. I've probably had 3,000 people attend except the brakes thing. So anyway, I'm happy to take some questions. Yes? San Antonio? Yeah, that's what the deal is in San Antonio. 269 units, one of my students. That one was from a student, yeah. But, we build relationships with brokers in the markets that we want to buy in. Now, right now I'm in Sarasota. I've got a deal. Lexington, Kentucky. I've got that nemesis, 403 units in Shreveport that I got to go to again next week. But it'll turn around. I'm going to make $9 million on that. It's just a pain in the ass. But I've got a deal in I've got 3 assets in Dallas, one in South Carolina, one in that Beaver Creek in Dayton, Ohio. And I know I'm forgetting some, but don't do that, okay? Pick a market and become an expert in it until you've done it a while like I have before you go all over the place. Please trust me on this. I had this thing. I say, ask me how I know, okay? Because I made every freaking mistake you can make. And so, in fact, a student gave me that pound, ask me how I know. Now we sell them at my live events when those start again. Don't get diluted. Pick a market, kick ass up. And you're home run here. But did I answer your question? Sorry, man. It's getting ugly. Yes, sir. Just is huge difference, okay? And you know, like in how you estimate the expenses, for example. You're going to have you're on if you have a building that's, in fact, I'll mention this, property management for a minute. If you have a building that's under, say, 50, 60 units, and you hire a property management company, they're going to handle leasing in-house. You're going to rely on their maintenance infrastructure, okay? But if you get a unit that's like 60, 70 units or higher, you have your own on-site maintenance person. You have your own on-site manager, okay? So you have your staff there. And I will tell you, if you have a smaller asset where you're relying on the property management company's maintenance infrastructure, be very careful, because maintenance is a real profit center for some management companies, and they will screw you. Ask me how I know, okay? And so, you know, you want to dig into what they charge for stuff, because they'll hire some kid at $15 an hour and bill them out at 100. A smaller one, you're going to pay much more, obviously, because they're doing the leasing and they're coordinating the maintenance. Yeah, hang with me. So like 8 to 10% there, 7 to 10%. Large asset like the San Diego, probably 3%. Now we will bonus them. Plus, that doesn't include the payroll, okay? We pay for the payroll of all the people that work there as well. So that 3% is just their earned income for managing the on-site staff. So they'll have a regional manager that manages our on-site staff, okay? And we're talking to them every week, obviously, or more if we're doing a CapEx project like a reposition or capital expenditure is what we call the money we put into a deal to fix it up. So we're doing a big project like this, San Antonio. We got $2 million CapEx budget. We're going to have $2 million of improvements there. We'll probably be talking to them every day. But after that, it's once a week. By the way, guys, when you buy a multifamily asset, you're thinking, oh, I'll give it to a manager and it's once and done. No, you're managing the manager. It's called asset management. We charge 2% of the gross rent for us to asset manage our own properties because there's a lot of work. Like I'm flying to Shreveport. I've been there every week for the last 3 weeks because it's been a train wreck. And anyway, I'm fading, but I'll take more questions. Yes. Oh, good. As an LP? Mm-hmm. You're in mine? Oh, okay. Huh? No. Mine's. It was REM Capital back then, but okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then you need to come to my boot camp. Okay. Do you listen to my podcast? Good. You'll get a lot of value there. And what's your question? What are you asking? What did you say about what? You better learn the business. Yeah. Now, you know, and like I said, in our limited partners, we have them come to the due diligence and walk around with us, and I do webinars and teach them, and they have access to my coaching. But regardless, you need to learn the business because it's, you know, that side of the fence is a whole lot different than the side you're on. You just gave a check. You know, there's a whole lot to it. You know, raising money, finding the deal, building relationships, due diligence, putting the syndication documents together, all of that. I'm not trying to scare you because I have tons of super successful women on my podcast with thousands of units. So there's no question you can't do it. So, but you got to learn it, right? Yes, sir. What do you mean focusing the business on? Your business, your real estate business? Maybe you start playing. Oh, here's a ninja trick. I would start looking at commercial property. Start considering trying to list commercial property. But it's a complete different animal, just so you know, okay? Now, here's a ninja trick. When you get into a market, set up a relationship with somebody like a residential broker and have them check the MLS, put an alert in if a multifamily property hits the MLS to let you know. Because nobody, see, here's the thing. Residential brokers, tell me if I'm wrong, pretty much don't have a clue how to value a large multifamily property and where to list it, right? And I'm not trying to pick on you, but that's the truth of it. They're not taught that. They know how to sell a house. Very often, though, they'll get a listing from someone that they sold their house. Say, hey, can you sell my 20 unit? And they'll, yeah, of course, you take the listing, although you haven't got a clue what to do with it. But if you've got a relationship with someone like you that puts an alert in the MLS and something pops up and I say, hey, listen, you let me know, you write the contract, I'll give you a $10,000 bonus when you do. You're going to let me know when a multifamily property comes up. My good friend Kevin Bupp, anybody know who he is? Mobile home park guru. Well, Kevin, I spoke at one of his events in Orlando, and he took us on a bus tour, and we went to this $2 million park that he got just that way from a residential broker. So ninja trick. Anyway, I don't know if that helped you at all, but that's all I got. Well, they're huge companies, Marcus and Millichap, Grubb and Ellis. Yeah, there's huge companies that do this. And yeah, I do. But they're, you just go build relationships, man. You may want to go work for one if you're really serious about this, because, that's an incredible foundation for this business. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, what? No, it's live stream. It's virtual. Yeah, no, it's not live. I'm going to do an Orlando event probably in January. And of course, that's going to be $300-400, but okay, one more time? But what did you text? Right? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to strangle you, Perry. Okay. I'm at a boot camp. I'm talking to a meetup right now, and everybody's texting all these different things that I give them, and they all end up with the partnership document instead of the boot camp page. Exclamation mark. God, I hope not, man. That's not good. Okay. Will you do me a favor and email me at rod@rodcleef.com and just give me please. I'd really be grateful. Thank you so much. Yes. Uh-huh. I'm going Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, you can. You can show up there. Yeah, just email me. Okay? Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be real busy, so I'm not going to be able to like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. You'll just have to. Okay. Well, yes. Oh, my God. God bless it. This is embarrassing. I'm going to strangle him tomorrow. Okay. Anyway, multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. Just go there. Multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. Use the code RODFRIEND. Please, one of you do that now and tell me if it freaking works. Okay. Good Lord. All right. Anyway, my apologies. Yes, that's yes. We're good on the book. Wow, one worked. Okay. Yes. Okay, here's the thing. On my podcast, one of the questions I almost always ask when I got somebody with thousands of doors, and I've had guys with 100,000 doors, 20,000 doors, 10,000 doors, and I always ask them, what would you tell your 18-year-old self if you could go back with what you know now? And I do it for a reason, because the answer is almost always the same. What do you think it is? Bigger, faster. Yes. Now, there's nothing wrong with starting with an 8 or 10 unit if it's going to get you over that fear hump. Nothing wrong. Most of these guys with thousands of units started with a house. So just, that's normal. Okay. So nothing wrong with it at all. Nothing wrong with it at all. Start there. Just start. Right? Okay. Yes, sir. I don't sell. Every house and property I've ever sold, I regret. I had 500 houses in Denver and I sold them. Okay, this is fucking painful. This is painful. They would all be free and clear right now. I would be netting, net, bottom line net, probably about 800 grand a month right now. So, but I wouldn't have met my wife. Meaning, it's all about meaning. Yes, sir. Oh, that's such a beautiful question. Thank you for asking that. That's nice. Just not even there. Well, not even that. I have a wall behind my desk with hundreds of thank you cards. And this is not ego, what I'm going to tell you right now. I literally get love 10 times a day. I get DMs, emails, gifts, cards every single day. It's the greatest gift of my life. And so I'm addicted to it. I mean, I'm here, and you know, if you guys saw my bride, you'd say, "What are you doing here, you dumbass?" Because she's just incredible. And I'm here because I love adding value. So thank you. So you know, but thank you. That's a beautiful question. Did you have a question? Online. And I tell people she stalked me. It was Match.com. But yeah, yeah. It was Matt. Yeah, it's true story. She hates it when I say this. 15. That's my wife. Okay? Yes. Put your tongue back in your mouth. All right. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for the gift of adding value. Sorry about this.